All right. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. Very much looking forward to Paris 1874, Inventing Impressionism. On the 15th of April, 1874, in Paris, an exhibition opened that would launch one of the most famous artistic movements in the world, Impressionism. For the first time, Monet, Renoir, Degas, and a whole lot more that I can't pronounce came together independently to exhibit their work. Light-filled, colorful paintings conveying fleeting impressions with a brisk and lively touch. In doing so, these artists dedicated themselves from the official Salon, the major official exhibition that dominated the Paris artistic life and the guardian of academic tradition. So what happened over the course of those few weeks? Through a selection of works shown at the exhibition of these independent artists and at the official Salon, Musée d'Orsay proposed a revival of it for its 150th anniversary. So that's happening right now. So we're going to examine the exhibitions of both 1874 and 2024 with Patrick Herpe, who's a French tour guide who is Zooming live with us from Europe. And I will provide additional information about Patrick and all his companies in the follow-up email tomorrow. I again want to thank the Friends of the Library and Corning Life Sciences for sponsoring. And so, finally, all 225 of us who are watching live and the many more that will watch the recording, let's give a big virtual round of applause to Patrick for joining us this morning. And Patrick, you can take it away. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Robert. Thank you so much. Do the people see me in the little screen or?
Yep, as long as I stop talking, they'll see you, Patrick. Yep.
Okay, perfect. So hello, everybody. So my name, maybe you've been with me already. My name is Patrick, and I'm a licensed tour guide in France. And I'm usually showing my country, especially Paris, and of course, lots of museum exhibition. Today, right now, I'm on holiday, but I take that time to be with you, and I'm very pleased for that. And now I'm not in France, now I'm right in Jersey. So not New Jersey, but Jersey Island, which is one of the Channel Islands in between England and Brittany, just 1 hour and a half by the boat from Saint-Malo in Brittany, where I've got my house. So I see that we are 225, as Robert said. That's fantastic. And I heard that somebody was coming from Wheeling. So I don't know if it's my friend Suzanne, which is there. But if it's not there, I tell you, the person from Wheeling, you have to go there, okay? You have to go to Later Alligator. That's the t-shirt she gave me, which is a restaurant in Wheeling. Fabulous. But anyway, I'm not here to make any advertising. It's just because I heard Wheeling. I guess in West Virginia. So my dear friends, today we're going to speak about Impressionism. But Impressionism, you know, it's a concept. It's not a school. It's not something that you go to learn. It's something which has been created from nothing. And most of the time when I do a visit in Orsay or in different museums in Paris, which are linked to Impressionism, people say, oh, where did the artist learn? Which was the school? Who was the teacher? Who was the leader? That kind of thing. But in fact, it's just a regroupment of artists, people who have got the same feeling, the same soul, who start doing the same kind of things, who regroup together. So we're going to see that together. And to be able to have the Impressionism, which is maybe one of the most famous trend in the paint in the world, because we speak about painters like, as Robert said, like Degas, Monet, Manet, Renoir, Toulouse-Lautrec, Van Gogh. Wow, what a bunch of painters. So let's understand why in fact we could, yes, if I don't, why doesn't work, that should work. Okay, maybe I do have to do that. Okay, so I just put you some pics to understand why the Impressionism could born, because it didn't born like that. So what's happened at that time for that? First, I show you an image, 4 pics. That, photography. But you mean I'm speaking about painting and I show you an photograph appareil. So what does it mean? It means if the photography was not going to appear at the same time of Impressionism, maybe Impressionism wouldn't have born. Because what is the difference between a photograph and a painter? At that time, I mean, okay, not nowadays, but at that time. In fact, there is not much difference. They are going to catch the moment. But with a photograph, you just catch, if I can say, a kind of dull, a kind of not alive moment. And moreover, by the technique at that time, the photographer can't really put his soul in the photography, when the painter is going to put his vision, his soul. So when a photographer takes a pictures of a sunflower field, and when Van Gogh is going to paint a sunflower field, you've got both times the same subject, but in one case, you've got the impression of Van Gogh. In the other case, you just have got the technique of the photography. But the photography is going to make the painters to act and to paint differently. A part of that, maybe they wouldn't have changed. Something else which is very important. Oh, this is a painting from Turner. So I'm sure you know Turner. And this is a trend. The trend. That's something else which is very important. Because before the trend, to go to the point E to the point B, let's say to go from, I don't know, from New York to Boston, well, it takes days. It takes days because you go by a carriage with horses. When the trains arrive, it just takes a couple of hours to do the same journey. It means the painters are going to be able to go everywhere very quickly. So it's not anymore a kind of a lifetime journey to go somewhere, but they can decide, okay, I'm in Paris, and this evening I will be in Normandy, and I will be able to paint some cliffs in Normandy. It doesn't take me 5 days to go there by horses or carriage. That's very important. The third thing which is important is that. That is a portable easel. You say, wow, an easel, Patrick. What? Why is it so important? Because this is a portable one. We also call it the French easel. If you look carefully on the pictures, you will see that there is a box where inside you can put all your stuff. And then you can fold it, and then you can use it as a little luggage, or you can even use it as a backpack. So it's going to be very easy for the photographer to go fast somewhere with the train, to put the easel and to start painting on the spot. Before, the easels were huge easels which were into the workshop of the artist. But maybe the most important of all the reason is this one. This is a workshop for an artist at the time of Leonardo da Vinci, at the time of the Renaissance, at the time of the 16th, 17th, even 18th, even beginning of 19th centuries. What do you have here? You've got the painter and you've got the model. And here on the side, into my red circle, you see two men which are preparing something. This is the people who prepare the paint. And that's very important because the paint is made on demand in the workshop. It means the artist say, oh, I need you to prepare me a green vermilion or a light vermilion green. And these two persons are going to grind minerals and stones to get a powder. Then they add a color, and then they are going to add a liquid. And then they mix it, and they get the past. That past is the paint which is going to be used by the painter. But that past, if you don't preserve it in something, it gets dry. Meaning, Leonardo da Vinci, when he painted Mona Lisa, or when he painted Saint Anne, when he painted, he never go on the spot. He always paint in the workshop. Because if he goes out, how can he bring the painting? In fact, we're going to have to wait a long time. And the beginning of the 19th century is that the man here, you see on the left side, this is Chardin, a French painter. that man is going to be not anymore a kind of internship who is doing that into the workshop, but it's going to be a professional man, which are going to prepare on the side to be ready to give to the artist. But the big change is going to be when this paint is going to be able to be put in that. What is that? This is a dry pig bladder, you know, the gust of the pig. And it's made like a little purse. You preserve the painting inside and you fold it. Like that, the painters are going to be able to go out. You see here, for instance, you've got a painting from Jonkind. And Jonkind, he's painting the sky with the clouds. When he does that, he doesn't do it from his workshop. He does it on the spot because he could bring the painting into the purse outside. But that's not very convenient because the purse quite often is broken. And when you open, you can't keep it. It's not a long time solution. And everything is going to change in 1841 when an American man, John Gough Round, is going to invent. Oh, sorry, is that the box of Jonkind? You see that's all the purse. When that man is going to invent the tube of painting. You see that little tube that he's going to put the paint inside. Then he's going to fold one part. He's going to fold the other part, and you've got a tube. The painting is preserved inside. You can put your tube into the portable easel, and you can go wherever you want with that. This is absolutely fantastic. It changed the life of the painters, and the painters are going to paint on the spot. One thing which is not very easy, you need something to fold and to reopen. But a French person from the Brown company Lefranc Bourgeois are going to invent the same thing with a twisting button. So like that, you've got the tube of painting that you all have used once in your life. That is the main revolution. And Renoir said, the famous Renoir said, without Geoffrey Round, without the tube of painting, we would have never existed, to tell you how much it is important. Okay, so that was a quick introduction about why, technically speaking, Impressionism is arriving. Then if you speak about the history of the movement. At that time, in France, you have got the Academy of Fine Art, which is a beautiful building, which is still existing in Paris. This is the pictures of nowadays. It was exactly like that in the 19th centuries and even before. The Academy of Fine Art, it's an academy where you learn painting by masters who are going to teach you and to transmit their knowledge. You have to follow the rules. You have to be a good boy or a good girl. You can't decide how you're going to do. No, you have to follow the rules. If I tell you a painting, the most important painting is either religious or historical, that's what you have to do. If you decide to paint, and no, let's see, we have got one here. Yes, if you decide to paint an apple, well, that's not good because this is absolutely minor art. Nobody wants you to paint an apple. But if I decide to paint Jesus the Christ, oh, that's absolutely fantastic. So you have to follow the rules of the academy. So due to that, there is some master which are going to be out of the academy and which are going to do their own workshop. Like here, you see? And some of the students are going to leave the academy and are going to go to private school, if I can say, which are in fact masters which are opening their workshop and which are sharing their knowledge with these students. So far, I don't speak about Impressionism. I just say that there is some students, some future painters which are starting in the academy, and some which are decided to make a little movement and to go out of that. But also what is going to happen at that time, it's going to be the war between Prussia and France. Prussia is nowadays more or less Germany. It's going to be a terrible war that the French are going to lose, and that are going to have got many consequences, that defeat of 1870. And the next year, after that defeat, we have got a huge revolution in Paris, which is led by the working class, the communists, and the anarchists, which is called La Commune de Paris. And this revolution is going to create a civil war in Paris in between the revolutionary and the regular army. More than 20,000 people from the revolution are going to be killed in 1 week in Paris in May 1871. So this is in that context that Impressionism is going to be created, if I can say. But Impressionism wouldn't have been able to be created without a man who is not a painter. That man is named Durand-Ruel. He's an art dealer. And that art dealer is the only one who is going to believe in these artists. And he believes so much in these artists that he's going to export these artists, not in France, but in New York and in London. And in London and in New York, the French artists or Dutch artists like Van Gogh, which were not very famous in Europe and not very successful, are going to be successful in America and in England, but not so far in France. And that is due to Durand-Ruel. Another event happened at the same time is Napoleon III has starting a process of reurbanization of Paris, led by Baron Haussmann. We are going to destroy the center of Paris to recreate new buildings, huge Haussmannian buildings with the Paris Opera, for instance, with the Palais de la Découverte, many, many, many incredible buildings, which are going to be at also the time of the World Fairs in Paris. So all that, it's in that context and with this new technology that some artists, which are, I should say, the rebels or the bad boys and the bad girls, are going to decide to do an exhibition next to the exhibition of the Academy. But you know, it's a bit like David versus Goliath. David are these painters. Goliath is the Academy. But it's not going to be the same end. Goliath is going to win. Okay? It's not a happy end. And so, but these artists are going to decide to regroup each other. And for that, they are going to decide to create an exhibition. This is the catalog of the first exhibition. You see, it's written 1874, first exhibition, 35 Boulevard des Capucines, and the catalog cost 50 cents. 50 cents at that time, it's like 5 cents nowadays, okay? And inside, you've got the catalog for all the artists and all the artworks that you can find at the exhibition. So where the exhibition take place? The exhibition take place right in the center in Paris. You know, this is Palais Garnier. So this is a Paris Opera with the blue spot. And just next to it with the red spot, that's where they are going to do the exhibition. Let me show you the building of the exhibition. It is this building. It was, in fact, the building of Nadar, who was a very famous photographer. The people are going to look for a place to make the exhibition, and they are going to rent for 2 weeks this building, which is going to be like more like a home than to be like the big exhibition. We call it Salon from the other artists. Let's have a look about that. Just a little video. You see the Paris Opera. That image from the time. That's how it's Paris, Boulevard des Capucines. So you walk in that boulevard, and you are going to arrive just from the opera, just 5 minutes walking. You are going to look at the Haussmannian building, and bit by bit, you are going to arrive in front of Nadar. This is where the exhibition is going to take place. 35 Boulevard des Capucines. And that's the image of that time. And that's where you've got the exhibition. We can enter, we can go through, and that's how the paintings were exhibited. You know, it's more like a house exhibition, not at all like the exhibition of the Salon, which is completely different way of exhibiting. But we're going to stop that little video to carry on our mode. One question, because I said David versus Goliath. So exhibition, when you do something, you know, when you are in the business, you always think about the value of how proud you are, how happy you are, you know, your ego value, but also you think about money. So, and for these artists, which are not famous at that time, and most of them don't have money, of course, the money is important. So what is the result of this exhibition? This is exactly the figures of the exhibition. So, you know, on the left, this is what they spent. So they spent at that time nearly 10,000 francs. Well, of course, doesn't sound a lot, but for that time, it was quite a lot. You know, it's like nowadays something like more than 100,000 euros. So they spent that just to prepare the exhibition. So how much they got from the exhibition? They got a little bit more than 2,000. So we don't need to be a very financial director to understand that in one hand, a bit nearly 10, on the other hand, 2,000, of course, the balance is not very good. So they are going to make a bankrupt. But doesn't matter. They are going to launch something. They're going to create something which is going to be coming back. It's not going to be a way to go back. They are going to be the precursor of something new that later on is going to be called Impressionist. So let's see that. Where is it? Here it is. Sometimes I look at my button, so that's why I say, ooh, 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 ooh. Here it is. So who are going to be the master, the leaders of the exhibition? I just put some portraits for you to see who are going to be the one. Of course, it's Caillebotte. Caillebotte, he's not going to exhibit, but he's going to be the one who, he's come from quite a healthy family. He doesn't really need money, and even he's going to help the other one. You know, he's going to give some money to help them to launch the exhibition. So this is Caillebotte, and we will see his artworks later on. Next to Caillebotte, of course, you've got maybe the most famous one for the French. It is Claude Monet, the famous man of the water lily, Claude Monet. Who else go to the exhibition? A woman, Berthe Morisot. A woman. And I showed her because, in fact, there was 31 artists, only one woman. To be an Impressionist painter, it's so hard, you know, but you can succeed. But to be a female Impressionist painter, that's just hell. So we can count on our hand how many ladies were famous or could be famous at that time. Berthe Morisot, she's a rich lady. She's coming from a rich family. You know, in French we say she's a little black duck. You know, like a bit like Niki de Saint-Phal, who is from a very rich New Yorkese banking family and who decided to be an artist. Well, the same for Berthe Morisot, you know. Her parents were thinking she's going to make a nice marriage to get some more money for the family, and she decided to be an artist. Oh, happily she had a sister who didn't do the same thing. But Berthe Morisot is one of these famous. Of course, we can't not speak about Renoir, Auguste Renoir. Of course, Pissarro. Of course, Sisley. Of course, Degas and Paul Cézanne. These people are the leading people, the leading painters of the exhibition. Altogether, 31, but these 7 are really the ones which are, you know, the big names on the posters outside. They are from very different age. You know, the youngest one is 40 years younger than the oldest one. I mean, 20 to 60. Wow, it's quite a big difference. They come from different social family, from different political vision. Most of them are more left-wing, okay? But some of them are extreme left, you know, communist, anarchist. The other one are more moderate. Some come from rich family, like Caillebotte or Berthe Morisot, or come from just the working class, like Pissarro or some of the painters. So there is not a unity, if I can say. It's a very diverse movement. And that's how it's going to be the exhibition. We just saw that already in the little video before. And they are going to exhibit 200 paintings, 200, not only paintings, sorry, 200 paintings and sculpting, but the main thing is painting. And they are going to put it on walls, which are, as you can see on the video here, which are going to be like a kind of a reddish brown walls. And what is very new, they are just going to put 1 or 2 line of painting, and the painting are going to be separated. I will show you how it's happened in the normal, I mean, formal exhibition. It's not like that at all. Okay, so this is more like a home exhibition, and you can see each painting distinctly from the other one. But how the people are reacting, how the critic is reacting, like that. A monster, absolutely awful. And one of these critics, he's going to see this, and he's going to write an article in his newspaper. He's a very famous art critic. He's going to destroy the exhibition. You know, he's going to say, I went from that painting, oh, that was awful. I went to that painting, oh my gosh, I was fainting. I went to that painting, oh, that was disgusting. I went to that painting and nearly hung myself. And finally, I arrive in front of a painting and I say, what that? And the person says, oh, let me look at the little book. And he said, oh, this is from Mr. Claude Monet, Impression au soleil levant. And the art critic said, wow, these people don't know how to paint. And they paint their impression. Are they impressionists? And that's how the word impressionist is going to start, from a journalist. So during that time, 2 weeks later, the national formal exhibition is going to start, and it's going to be in that building. That building is not existing in Paris anymore. It has been replaced by another building who looks nearly the same, which is the Grand Palais at the bottom of the Champs-Élysées, in between the River Seine and the Champs-Élysées. You can see here the Champs-Élysées on the left, and on the right you can see the River Seine, and that was the Palais de l'Industrie. And at the exhibition, you see, that's how the painting are exhibited. This is the pictures of the exhibition. Look at that. You know, there is not a centimeters, there is not an inch of space in between the painting. It's like the walls are covered by painting. But it's not only 200 paintings, it's going to be more than 2,000 paintings. And when at the Impressionist exhibition, there is all together something like 3,500 people who came to visit it. At that exhibition, at the Salon, let's call it the Salon in between us, okay? Le Salon. At that Salon, there were more than 300,000 people who came in. You can see the difference? It's going to be 100 times more. And obviously, they are going to be more successful in selling and in return on investment. You see, that's a painting from Le Salon. So a painter painted the Salon. It's like I don't know, it's like a fast food comparing to a gastronomic restaurant, if I can say. But anyway, let's carry on. So what was the highlight of the Impressionist exhibition? What are we going to see? First, we're going to speak about the first room. And when you enter, the first painting you see is that. This is that. That is a little bit not fantastic, how I say. This painting is from Renoir. We call it La Danseuse. Well, if you want to see it, well, when the exhibition is finished in Paris, you can go back to Washington and you will go to the National Gallery and you will have the chance to see that painting from Renoir. That's where this painting is it's exhibited in America, in Washington. And it's one of the biggest painting that is going to be exhibited. And, you know, with that, Renoir is make a kind of echo with the famous dancer from Degas. So there is going to have got a lot of echo in between some of the artists about the subject, okay? And you see the touch here is very different than the touch we have going to see later on about the Salon. Next to that painting, Renoir is going to exhibit this other painting. This other painting is named La Parisienne, the Parisian girl. It's a young lady who is a young girl. She's 15 years old. So you see, it's not an adult so far, and she's going to become later a very famous artist in theater. It's going to be her. You see, she's called Madame Henriot later on, and she's going to play at the Comédie Française, which is the most famous theater in Paris. So you see here, it's on the left side you've got the pictures, on the right photography, on the other side you've got the painting, different age of course. But you see with La Parisienne, Renoir show you the fashion, how the Parisian girls are so trendy, how they are elegant, And this is the painting from Renoir. And that painting is in Cardiff. So you have to go to Wales if you don't come to Paris to see it. And of course, we can't not speak about Monet. Monet is going to exhibit this painting, which is Boulevard des Capucines. In fact, he's going to make a painting which is exactly where the exhibition takes place. The exhibition takes place Boulevard des Capucines, and he makes that painting. And on that painting, we can see people which are walking in the street. The art critics are going to say, what are these black stains on the painting? And Monet, it's not black stains, sir. It is people walking in the street. Say, oh, when I walk in the street, I look like that, like a stain, like an ant. You see, this is the Impressionist painting. It's not something which is realistic, something which is distinctive. You don't exactly know what it is. If you go close, if you take a spectacular lenses and if you look very close, you just see a black stain. He's right, the art critic. But that black stain, when you look at the global painting, you understand it's somebody walking. So of course, so if you look at the technique and if you come from the academic of fine art, you see this is absolutely disgusting. But if you look at the painting by itself, you say, wow, that's really interesting. So it depends how you want to look at it. And Monet, after that, did another painting from the same subject, but at a different time of the day. He loved that, to do different time of the day. And you see, he did again the Boulevard des Capucines, but that is at the sundown. You see the light is a little bit orange. And you see, it's like we are above the boulevard. On the right side here, you see there is a man on the balcony. And that man on the balcony, with one or two men on the balcony with a top hat. And they are looking at the boulevard from their position. So the other famous artist is Degas. And Degas is going to show at that exhibition lots of painting from his dancer, from the Paris Opera. So of course we always think Degas dancer, but he also did horses and racehorse. But anyway, dancer is the iconic touch of Degas. But Degas doesn't only show you the dancer as a nice person, because you know, this girl, these poor little girls, because most of them were between 13 and 15, maximum 16, they were sent to the opera by their family. Not because they were elegant, not because they were beautiful, not because they were a good dancer, but because the family hoped that, this is another painting of Degas, when they are making the rehearsal, it may have, like here, if you look carefully, there is a man with a black hat who is sitting. He's a hunter. Nowadays, we say he's a pedophile. In fact, he comes to the rehearsal because he has got an annual ticket. With that, he can enter in the opera and he can go to the backstage and he can see the rehearsal. And what does he see? He sees these little girls. And what does he do after that? He proposes to take them as mistress. And if he takes them as a mistress, he gives them a flat. And the whole family, when he doesn't come to visit the girl, they can live in the flat. So you see, it's kind of something which is really dirty. And Degas is going to catch that. So don't imagine Degas is just showing the nice part of the opera, but Degas is showing also his impression of the truth of the opera, how it was working at that time. Here you've got a complete different painting. It's another painting from Renoir, and it's called La Loge. That one is in the London Museum. And so you see, on that painting, Renoir showed why the people were going to the opera, not for the dancer. In fact, you see there is a lady, and the lady is really, how can I say, with makeup and quite attractive. So we can imagine that Renoir is showing her like a courtesan. And the man next to her, you see, he's not looking with his spectacular lenses. He's not looking at the stage. He's looking at other people into the opera house. You are going to the opera to be seen or to see. You are going to be to the opera to show off. And that's what on that painting Renoir is showing. Renoir was a very close friend from Monet, you see. So at the exhibition, Renoir also did that, which is, of course, for the academic of art, something which is completely Burke, not interesting, just a pot of flowers. And Monet and Renoir are going to do exactly the same painting, because you see, this is the same flower, but from two visions, one from Renoir, one from Monet. So they were in the same place, and they painted both of them, but with a little different angles. So just to show you, if I can say, how much these people were knowing each other and were connected to each other. Here you see Monet and Renoir. And that you go to Boston. On the other one, you go to the Getty Center. So you see, these two paintings are in America. America are very lucky because they have got many of these paintings nowadays in their museum, and we don't have them in Orsay Museum, but we have got some of them in Orsay. And so, but these days in that exhibition, all of them are together. It's one of the major exhibitions. Something completely different, you know. Also at the same exhibition, you've got here a city named Pontoise, which is in the suburb of Paris, and this is Pissarro, and which is showing a view of the how you call it, the locks, the river locks, okay, in Pontoise, and that's the view from the river locks. So you see, they're also going to show landscape and real life in the landscape. Not only opera or dancer or whatever, but also the real life, but with their way of painting, which is not precise, not at all like the other painter from the academy. Also, we're going to see that I like a lot. This one is from Cezanne, and this one is just a study, and it's a tribute to Monet from the famous Olympia from Monet. This is the Olympia from Monet. And you see here, Paul Cézanne, on the other side, he tried to make a kind of a tribute to Monet, who was exhibiting, not in the exhibition, but in the Salon. Speaking about that painting, I do a special webinar just on that painting on Monet. So if once we decide to do it together, we'd be pleased to explain you that painting. But that painting from Monet, just to tell you, which has been very not, if I can say, welcome, because people were thinking this is very erotic. And in fact, Monet is copying a painting from Urbino in the Cinquecento, sorry, in Italy. So the Italian Renaissance, and this is a Venus, okay? But there is something who look the same, but there is so many differences. That is interesting to explain these two paintings and to understand why this painting from Monet is one of the masterpieces in Orsay Museum, this one. And the other day I found in the street art about that. That's quite funny because you see here, the lady, the courtesan, is a white Caucasian lady, and the people who bring the flower, the maids, is the black lady. And there's a street artist who did that, and I think it's quite funny. You see, he just reversed the roles. He put the black lady as the boss, the white Caucasian girl as the maid. I think it's interesting, and nowadays to speak about equality, to see how this street artist is going to reverse things. But well, that has nothing to do with the exhibition. It was just a little diversion of myself. Sorry for that. I just come back to the exhibition. Next to the painting, we also are going to have got some artists which are going to do on different things, not on canvas, but could be on with enamel, which are going to copy great master of the Renaissance. You see, this painting on the left side, of course, it's Le Condottiere, which is a painting of de Messine, which is in enamel, which is in the Louvre. And that one is from Meyer, and Meyer is exhibiting in the Museum of Art Modern in Paris. So, but it's a copy of the Condottiere. They're also doing that one. You see here, it's a copy made by Bracquemont, and Bracquemont, in fact, he's doing what we engraving, you know. So, well, you know, the technique of engraving. So, copy some of the painting, if I can say, some of the artifacts were also enamel or engraving. So here you see this. He's going to copy Monet. This is the painting of Monet. And above, this is the engraving of Bracquemont. He's also going to do Bracquemont, a very famous one from Ingres. So this is the engraving of Bracquemont, And this is the painting of Ingres named La Source, the origin of the water. So you see, this is also at this special exhibition. So what happened during that time at the Salon? Let's see the difference between Impressionist and the Salon. That's the Salon. This is a painting from the Salon. It's interesting, you know, because this painting, in fact, it's 7 painters who work together. Because the painter, the one who did it is called Caballot Lassalle. He painted a group of people. Then he painted 6 paintings. But he didn't do the painting, the 6 paintings. The paintings were exhibits in the Salon. And he has each of the painters to do a miniature, small painting of themselves. So in fact, he did the global painting, and then each of the painters who were really exhibiting like that painted the miniature in that painting. So in fact, 7 artists for that painting. I quite like that. But what you do have from that, for instance, you've got Marie Cassatt. You know Marie Cassatt because she's very famous in America. And so Marie Cassatt, you see, for instance, she's exhibiting in the Salon and not in the Impressionist exhibition. And she's going to propose to the Salon one of these subjects. But Marie Cassatt then is going to be approached by the Impressionists, and the Impressionists, like I said to Mary, wow, why are you with these old and good boys and good ladies? Why not coming with us? We are the future. And in fact, Marie Cassatt, after that, is going to exhibit not anymore in the Salon, but to exhibit in the next exhibition of Impressionists the years after that. This is the death of the first pharaoh, the first birth of the pharaoh in Egypt, for a painter from Tadema. It's in the Brisk Museum in Netherlands. And you see, this is very classic. This is exactly what the Academy wants you to paint the subject from the antiquity, from the history, and everything is perfectly detailed. When you see the lady, the pharaoh lady who is crying the death of her baby, you can see all the details of the jewelry. You can see every details. It's not Impressionist, okay? This is the competitors of the Impressionists for you to understand. This is another one, which is also very interesting. It's Eros, okay, or Cupid. It depends how you call it, but Cupid or Eros. And you see, again, it's from a painter named Leconte du Nuit, and he loved things from the Greek mythology, so he's going to paint it. But again, you see, it's a very classical way of painting. This is at the Salon, not at the exhibition. Also at the Salon, you're going to have got painting for the first time for a long time about the war, because, you know, we had to wait a little bit of years before painting the war. You know, it's a little bit like if in America you start painting Vietnamese war or making war movie about Vietnamese war. You're not going to do the year just after the end of the war. You need a kind of mooning time, a kind of you know, kind of distance between the war and the time you start making it as an art things. So you see, it's going to wait 6 years before painters are going to be accepted to make it. So this is one of the scenery of the war. You see another one again from the war. So these are at the Salon, not at the exhibition. And also this one, which is the departure of the Roman fleet going from the Normandy going to England, in fact going to Jersey, where I am right now, because people here are from Normandy. So in fact, maybe some of the painters on the painting here came to see me today. So Renoir is going to try, Monet is going to decide, should I go to the exhibition or should I go to the Salon? Finally, he decided to go to the Salon. He proposed this painting, which is going to be rejected. Why it's going to be rejected? Not because the painting is Impressionist, but because the painting is a little bit offensive. Because you see, we are at the opera, and what do we see? We see little girls which are coming to speak with men. We can easily understand what is happening here, what I explain you for Degas. And so that is not, you know, it's like taboo. We shouldn't paint that. So that is going to be rejected. The exhibition, the Salon is going to say, no, 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 no. So Renoir, Monet is going to propose another one, which is that one, which is going to be accepted. But that painting from Renoir, it's a little girl who is looking a train from Saint-Lazare passing. You see the smoke you see on the back of the painting is from the train in the train station Saint-Lazare, and the girl is completely absorbing by that. You know, it's incredible, it's technology, and she loves it. But Renoir is going to be laugh when he's going to present that. This is too modern for the National Salon. And next to him, there is this painter from Degas who is just exhibit next to him. And people say, you see, that's much better. But when you look at that, we find something which is impressionist in it, don't we? So you see the line in between some of the artists in the Salon and some of the artists in the Impressionist exhibition. The line, the border is so thin that sometimes it's very difficult to classify one of the artists. So this Italian painter, Degas, is in the Salon. But to be honest, it could be in the Impressionist exhibition. This is, for instance, another painting from another lady called Eva Gonzalez. And you see that is also going to be accepted. It's called La Matinée Rose, so the pink morning, when a lady is just waking up and have got her sleeping clothes, if I can say. So that is going to be accepted. But then he also proposed that, which is again at the opera, and that is going to be refused. Because on Eva Gonzalez is going to have some problem, because in fact she's going to be a student of Monet. As I said, Monet is going to be in between good and bad, and so she's going to be quite rejected. So that is in the Salon. So let's go back to the impression, and some artists are going to propose in both. Degas, the one we've just spoken before, okay, he proposing in the Salon. That one is in the Salon. And he's going also to propose that for the exhibition. So you see, as I said, the line is very small, and some artists decide to have a fit in both. Not only in one, they don't choose, they go in both. So Degas proposed that and that at the Impressionist exhibition, when he proposed some other at the Salon. Difficult to see the difference, okay? Or here, we've got the Canal, Saint-Denis, which is the north side of Paris, where the Olympic Games are going to take place in a couple of days. And this artist is also going to propose you this street in Montmartre. And he's called Lépine, and he's a student of Corot. And that are going to be at in between the Expo and the Impressionist exhibition. But let's see for the last time the battle in between. Here you see the painter here. It's Jules-Émile Saintin. He painted the lady that we call the laundry lady. You see, she's coming back to the shop, and she has cleaning all the white part of the underdress of the lady. And she's coming back after having cleaned them in the river. But when Julien Satin paint this lady, does he paint her? He paint her like a lady who is trying to attract you. No, look, the eyes and the smile. Hey, boys, what are you doing? And even though, look, she's pulling up the dress to show a little bit the feet, she's trying to attract you. So you see, that painter who is at the Salon, he's showing a working class lady as nearly kind of prostitute. When Degas, at the same time, in the Impressionist, is going to show you a working class lady who is an ironing lady. She's ironing, and you see, we see her as an exhausted lady, exhausted by the hard work she's doing. So you see, it's two visions of the working class. One from the Salon, showing the lady a little bit like a courtesan, and the other one at the Impressionist exhibition, showing the ladies are really the reality of their hard life. Speaking about modernity and life, the painters also going to show the modern life. For instance, they are going to love to show the people going to Deauville, to Normandy. But again, here it's a very, very famous French painter named Boudin, Eugène Boudin. He presents many of these watercolor painting at the big exhibition, like this one and this one. But it's quite funny. These painters, when they are going to paint the real life, most of the time they are going to paint people which are from a rich condition, from a healthy condition. You see, the people which are here, that the Parisian people who have got the money, who can go to the seaside in Normandy. And so there's that kind of funny things, you know. They don't paint working class most of the times, a little bit like Degas, but most of the time when they paint the real life, they paint the rich people, like here, Buddha. Or like here, for instance, this is a painting from a guinguette. You know, the guinguette is where you get the, how do you do that? Where you get the, by the river, where the people were going to eat and to dance. This is from Renoir, also at the Impressionist exhibition. And you see, it's also rich people which are there, okay? Or even here, for instance, Monet, when he did this very, very famous painting of Monet, which is called the Puppies, the Puppies Field of Monet. You know, it's absolutely beautiful and famous painting, which is in Orsay. And but in fact, who are working in the field? Are they farmers? No, not at all. The people which are working in the field. In fact, it's a rich people. You know, it's a rich lady. And that also, as I said, depends the real life, but depends the rich person. The same thing here. You see, it's Berthe Morisot, who is showing her sisters, who is her nephew, and her niece, sorry. And again, you see, it's a rich people in the countryside. So to finish about the exhibition, let me also show you the things that they depend from the countryside. So here it's from Daubigny. From Pissarro, sorry, which is the verger, so where you get the apples trees. Here it's from Daubigny. Here it's from Guillaumin. You see, this is a sunset. And here, for instance, it is the machine in Marly. Maybe you don't know what that machine, but maybe you've been to Versailles and you will know that machine is very important. This is the painting. This is the real thing. What is it? This is that. This is the machine who has been creating to bring the water from the river to the water fountain in Versailles. So when you are in Versailles and when you see the water fountain, it's all come because of that machine. So you see, it's real life, industrial life, people which are painting the real life. That is coming from the exhibition. And I want to show you what is maybe the most important of all of them, because they're the one who gave the name to Impressionism. It's going to be from Claude Monet. So Claude Monet painted this painting of Le Havre, which is a harbor in Normandy. He painted boats and he painted the riverside. And once he decided to paint it in the early morning, this one. And so this is the same painting nearly, but you see, as it's the early morning, it's a bit foggy. And you've got the sun, which is rising. You've got some spots which are representing, in fact, the boats. And that with a kind of a foggy atmosphere. So as he said, I can't say the harbor of Le Havre because it's not very easy to understand. That's why he called it Impression au soleil levant. My impression at the rising sun. And if we've got Impressionism, it's because of that painting. This painting gave the name to Impressionism. Okay, so just to finish after that, we are going to have got some other exhibition coming. 75, they're going to go to an auction. 76, 77, they make an exhibition. And that time, 1877, they say Impressionist exhibition. So it means they're going to use the name. After that, 79 to 86, 5 other exhibitions. And after that, the movement, the people are going to split, and it's going to be the end of Impressionism. Let's see some of the paintings which are going to come after that exhibition. For instance, Caillebotte. Caillebotte here is the floor scrappers, one of the most famous painting in Orsay. This is from 1706. Or here, from Monet, the Saint-Lazare station. Or here, from Pissarro, the red vineyard. Here, from Renoir, how you call it, sorry, I forgot the name in English, where you go like that for the kids. I forgot how to say that in English. It's not a sledge, it's a swinging. I think the swinging thing. I'm not sure about that. And of course, one of the most famous of all of them, which is the famous Bal du Moulin de la Galette, the ball of the Moulin de la Galette, the famous Moulin de la Galette, which is in Paris. Here, that's where that painting happened. And the Moulin de la Galette has been painted by Van Gogh. And this is the Van Gogh painting of the Moulin de la Galette. And to finish, one of the last painting, which is going to be from Caillebotte. And you know, Caillebotte is going to be the inspiration of artists later on. So some of these artists which were there, like Caillebotte, are going to be the inspiration of hyper-realistic painters, like Edward Hopper. Hopper always claimed that if he painted like that, it's because he saw some of these famous Impressionist painters like Caillebotte. Then, as I said, 86, this is the end, and we go to the Neo-Impressionism, like Seurat, here with the circus, and on that, the difference, technically speaking, an Impressionist painter take the paint on his palette, mix the colors on the palette, then the color mixed create a new color. Let's say I take blue and I take red, I put together, I get purple, and then I put the purple on the palette. So the works of the colors is made by mixing the paint on the palette. Here, Seurat with the Neo-Impressionism is going to be totally differently. He's going to make a sketch. Let's say, for instance, the horse. He's going to paint the horse, and inside he's going to put dots. And one dot is white, one dot is blue, one dot is red, and your eyes, technically, I mean, physiologically speaking, mix the two colors together. So the fact which is done on the palette by the Impressionists, the Neo-Impressionists are going to do the same things, but not by mixing the painting, but by putting the colors one next to one and let your eyes make the mixing, okay? This is Neo-Impressionism, this is Seurat, and this is the end of the webinar. So that's now where I hope you can have some comments from Robert and to reply to any question you have.
So folks, first of all, Patrick, perfect timing, 11:30 on the dot. Folks, let's give Patrick a big virtual round of applause for a great presentation. And let's take, approximately 10 to 12 minutes of questions here. Kathy says, Patrick, you are wonderful, a joy to listen to, a wonderful lecturer. I learned so much. Thank you. Margaret says, a fascinating and thorough explanation of the origins of Impressionism, one of the best I've ever heard. And she says, merci. JM says, très bien, Patrick. Merci beaucoup. Margot says, what an excellent lecture with wonderful samples. Thank you very much. Dory says, very informative. Vivian says, absolutely wonderful. Brenda says, a lot has been said about Degas, the attitude and dislike of women. I don't see that in his paintings. What are your thoughts?
So about Degas, if you look at the famous sculpture of Degas, which is La Danseuse, maybe you know, I don't put it inside because it wasn't a painting and it wasn't at the exhibition, but it's a bronze sculpting which is in Musée d'Orsay of a lady dancer with a real tutu skirt made in fabrics. When you look at that sculpting, in fact, she's not really beautiful. If you look the side of the head, the head looks a little bit like a chimpanzee head. I mean, it's not an oval; it's more like flat, horizontal figures. And she's also a little bit, the shoulders are a little like that, and she has got a little belly when she's only 15 years old. And the guy explained to the people that it's like a sweet and sour. On one hand, he loves the dancer, but on the other hand, he feels sorry because they are going to be used, these dancers. And so in his painting, on one hand, he showed the tough life of the dancers, and on the other hand, he showed also the truth. But he doesn't show the truth like, with a spotlight, because a part of that, maybe he would have put in jail. But he showed it with little touch for you to understand. If you understand the context of his painting or of his artworks, you understand what Degas meant, okay? And if you read about Degas, you will realize that.
Suresh says that you were great. Paula says, I always learn something new about Impressionism when I attend a webinar about it. Thanks for this wonderful presentation. Lois says, I love the Musée d'Orsay, and I learned so much about the background of these paintings. Marie thanks you. Kathy says, I have to say it again, you are a joy. Susan says, that was wonderful. All your talks are great. Patricia says, very enjoyable and informative. Elaine says, he is just the very best. Thank you. Thank you for such a fine discussion of this artistic movement. Tara says, I loved the take on Olympia, exchanging roles. Thanks for including this modern reversal. Deborah says, mercy, mercy, mercy. Nancy says, fabulous. Judy says, excellent. Gail says, amazing. Marie says, she learned so much from you. Diana says, your presentation was excellent. Ruth asks, what Impressionists managed to get work exhibited in both the Salon and the Academy?
So what was the worth for them to do that exactly? Sorry, I didn't get exactly the question between the Salon and the exhibition.
When she, well, I think she might be missing a letter or two. I think she's saying managed. So in other words, were there any famous Impressionists that were exhibited in both the Salon and the Academy?
So first, they were not Impressionists, okay? Just to say that. We call them Impressionists, but they were not Impressionists. You know, you don't have a little sticker say Impressionists or not Impressionists. The fact is, every year, if you want it to be exhibited, you have to pass by the jury of the Salon. And if the jury of the Salon, if the judge of the Salon said you are not correct, you are not following the line, you are not a good boy or a good girl, we don't accept you in the exhibition. So what can they do? So these artists, in fact, which are coming from different visions, from different people, different social position, they decided to regroup together. And they decided to create the exhibition. But they also could be exhibit in the Salon because, I mean, the Salon, they have to be accepted by the judge. But for the exhibition, it was free of them to go. It was just their own decision. Do you want to be part of the exhibition? So most of artists were coming. Better it was for the exhibition, you know, because when Renoir say I come, when Monet say I come, of course that's fantastic because it's big name for the exhibition. Okay, so the exhibition was free to come, and you were exhibiting what you wanted. When the Salon, you have to be accepted by the judge.
EE says that they learned a lot. And they also compliment your virtual live walking tours, okay? Madeline says, it was so interesting to see the painting of the floor finishers working that made me think of the late American ashcan school. Never would have connected that with French painting. This was a very interesting presentation. Beatrice says, after listening to you, she better understands where Impressionists are born. So many deconstructive paintings are my impression of my life. This was fantastic. Sharon loves your humor. Frank says, bravo, fascinating, fantastic, thanks again. And then he says some things in French I don't know how to read. Madeline says, the circus painting reminds me of the late 19th and 20th centuries advertising art. Do you see any influence or connection?
So Neo-Impressionism is going to be just before Fauvism. So we are at the end of the 19th centuries. And if you speak about the advertising, for instance, like for Mucha, it's going to be just after that, it's going to be the Art Nouveau. Okay, so most of the advertising are going to become with the Art Nouveau. If you go to visit Musée d'Orsay, you know, when I do an in-person visit in the Musée d'Orsay, most of the time the people, I say, what are you going to watch there? What are you going to see? People say, oh, we're going to see Van Gogh, Renoir, and we come here for the Impressionists. I say, okay, but before Impressionists, there are the realistic painters with Millet, with Courbet, and first, we start by that. And then I say, it's not including in the visit because we don't have time in 2 hours. But if you want, I encourage you to go after Impressionism to see Neo-Impressionism. I show that. And I say, go after that to the Art Nouveau. And so lots of these, I should say that what you mean about the advertising, it's going to start with the Art Nouveau and carry on, as you said, at the beginning of the 1900, absolutely.
A few more comments, and then we'll go to the Q&A, which also has a bunch of comments. But Mary says, I worked at the Kimball Art Museum in Fort Worth, Texas for 20 years. Fortunately, we had exhibitions that included many of the paintings you featured today over the years. I especially loved the floor scrappers. You gave excellent insights that I had never heard before in your lecture that accompanied the Impressionist exhibitions that the Kimball, her old art museum, hosted. And she thanks you very much. Ruth says this was very interesting. Margot says great insight, creating context as to the social class structure within Parisian society of the late 1800s. Rosemary says not many realize how photography changed the art scene. Thank you. Great program. Kathy hopes you can come back. You're so interesting. Madeline says, I appreciated you making the connection between technical advances in paints and painting tools with outlets and possibilities for the painter's creative expression and plein air painting. All right, so now we're going to jump to the Q&A, and there are some comments in here. Margaret says there's a wonderful lecture, a Cassatt exhibition that's in the Philadelphia Museum until September 8th. Let's see. Benita wants to know
fly eagles.
Yep. Oh, eagles. Oh no. We're Patriots. We're Patriots. We're Patriots country here. Does the Salon? Yes. Benita asks, does the Salon still exist today?
No. The Salon doesn't exist anymore. Because I should say, I mean, all these artists, some of them were becoming famous or were famous, like Monet, you know. Monet was famous before he died. But for lots of them, like Van Gogh, which is not in that exhibition, because Van Gogh is going to arrive as a late Impressionist. He's going to arrive in Paris in 86 to 88, and he's going to die in 89. So these painters are going to at least take 20 years to be famous. And at that time, the art dealers and the private exhibition are going to replace the Salon. But in the 19th century, the Salon was the place where you have to be if you want to sell. And don't forget, these artists, they were, of course, painting for pleasure, but also painting for money.
Tish says the National Gallery in Washington, D.C. is hosting a big exhibit on Impressionism, which opens in September. Thank you for such a timely and wonderful talk. You never disappoint. Let's get to some questions. We'll take 3 or 4 more minutes here of questions. Francis asks, do all of the original 200 paintings still exist, or have any been lost?
So, as I said, most of them were painting. Also, we have got some other technique like the engraving, the enamel, and we also have got some sculpting, okay? But most of the things were painting. No, I think only 1 or 2 have disappeared. But in Musée this year, for the 150th anniversary, it was a fantastic exhibition. And I had the pleasure to bring couples of people inside for the in-person visit. And they regrouped from all over the world and from also private collections. So many comes from America, comes from Wales, come from England, from many different countries, and we regrouped all the most important painting which were at the exhibition. So I mean, something from the most important, nothing disappear. It's possible that some watercolors, for instance, from Boudin, or some other less important painting has not there. But in Musée, I think we had nearly 160 of the original artworks that we could regroup. That was absolutely amazing. That's why I wanted to show that exhibition, because what I show you is what myself I see in Musée, okay? I put it on the PowerPoint for you to present it, but it's exactly how it was in Musée, because they really redone exactly like the first exhibition. They covered the wall with a red, brown color, and they put the painting how they were at the first exhibition. So when you enter to that exhibition in Musée, you enter by the first painting of Renoir that I presented to you, the dancer and the Parisian, exactly like it was at the exhibition.
Jill asks, is the museum catalog available in English?
Yeah. The catalog at the bookshop of Musée, or I'm sure in the online bookshop, yes.
Let's see. Teresa asks, is the painting where 7 artists paint miniatures of their own painting exhibited at the Salon.
Yeah, at the Salon, not at the exhibition. Yes,
Yeah.
at the Salon. It was it was 6 artists who did the painting at the Salon. And the 7th one, Caio Bolassalle, decided to make a painting of this part of the exhibition, like a photography, if I can say. So he painted some people which were there gathering around, and then he asked the painter to redo their painting on his painting. You know, that's quite unique, you know, to have 7 painters, 7 hands for one painting.
Of the 31 artists, how many were French?
Oh, I haven't counted like that because they were all living in France, that's for sure. Then, for instance, Donitis is Italian. It's difficult, but some of them were, I'm not sure they were French if you think in terms of passport, okay, because, but they were at least French, how can I say, French adopted. Okay, the most important were French. But I can't be, honestly, I can't be sure they were not originally from another countries living in France and be considered as a French. But for instance, Marie Cassatt or these kind of painters were not at that first exhibition. And Van Gogh is not at all there because Van Gogh is arriving 10 years later. So yes, most of them were, all the one I said at the first, the most important artists, they were all French. In fact, they were 30, to be precise, there were 30 artists in the catalog, and there were 31 because there is one artist. I haven't said that because it was a little bit minor, but there was one artist which was a pseudo. So we don't know who that person was. And in the catalog, it's only 30 painters, 30 artists. On the 31st, we think it's another lady, but we have no real, you know, lots of people try to investigate about that, and we lost this painting of that person.
Oh, well, let's end on that mystery, Patrick. We answered most of we read all the comments. We answered most of the questions. There's a couple of questions that ask you to go back to previous slides. I think in the interest of time, we're just going to wrap it up here. We've gone 75 minutes. So folks, let's give Patrick a big virtual round of applause for a great presentation. We will absolutely have Patrick again back again in the future, whether it's for something like this or for another one of his live tours of Paris. Patrick, do you have any last words for the audience? Patrick, where can people learn more about you?
Well, if you can put my Instagram or my website, Le Paris de Patrick, or I've got of course an email if you come to Paris and if you want to see me or to do any visit, it will be with pleasure. And yeah, you can go to the website or to the Instagram or to the Facebook. That's where you can. But on my Instagram, you know, I also put some pictures of. Right now, I'm in Jersey, so you will see some pictures of Jersey. It's not only my. It's only I also do my trip, if I can say. So my Facebook and my website is more professional.
Sure. I'll include your website link and your socials in the follow-up email.
Yeah, and the best way to contact is my email address because that's what I got on my phone and everything. But it was a pleasure for me to do that exhibition. You know, it's I'm so happy to be able to share it. And we were a bit more than 200, and that's fabulous because and I know that you are going to have got some other people who are going to see it online later. And I feel sometimes so bad because of the cost of traveling and also the ecological cost of traveling, you know, and there's lots of people who can't go somewhere because they can't afford or they don't want to spend in the plane for ecological reasons or whatever. And so all of you can't have the pleasure to see that. Like myself, I'm not going to see the exhibition in Texas or in Washington about Impressionism that I heard is going to be. I won't be able to do that. Okay, so I will be very happy if I've got a colleague or a friend of me who can show that, because I would be delighted. When I went to the Getty Centers in Los Angeles, or when I went to couples of museum in America, not far away from in Pittsburgh, I went to the World Museum, and you know, I'm very happy always to discover things that I can discover in my own country, and I feel always very happy to be able to share. And so this also, it's an opportunity for me to share my passion. So thank you for that.
Yeah, Patrick, thank you so much. And Patrick, I won't prolong the talk, but I hope you enjoy the Olympics, and maybe we'll see you in the stands when we're watching. Okay. So
Maybe.
thank you. Yeah, maybe. So thank you all so much, and I hope everyone enjoys the rest of their day. Have a good one.
Thank you. Bye-bye, Robert.
Bye.
Bye-bye, everybody.